They have found a criminal, but they haven't found a crime. That's how the car wash operation intends to close in on Lula. First, it was the apartment in Guarujá. In 2005, Miss Marissa Leticia, Lula's wife, bought a stake in Bancoop Venture. 4 years later, the stakeholders decided to transfer the project to the OAS construction company. This was done for the approval, follow-up, and supervision of the State Justice and Public Ministry Department, the National Security Council, and the Supreme Council of the Public Ministry. Since Bancoop ceased issuing invoices, Miss Marissa naturally stopped paying. Stakeholders were left to choose between buying a new apartment or to ask to be reimbursed for the sums they had invested. 5 years later, the construction company offered them a triplex apartment in the same building. Lula and Marissa visited the apartment with the owner of the company, but never closed the deal. Then there was the estate in Atibaia. The property was bought in 2010 by people who had been friends of Lula's family for over 40 years. It was a legal operation. The property has a duly registered deed, and there are dozens of documents providing that all the expenses are paid by the owners of the real estate. The owners of the countryside house have proved the origin of the resources, which refutes any allegation that the property belongs to Lula. Even the lectures that Lula gives all over the world, and charges handsomely for, $200,000 each, have been investigated. A company called Lils was created with the sole purpose of handling these contracts. Everything is duly documented and registered. 70 lectures have been delivered in 4 years without a single incident of illegal undercover payments. In spite of all the evidence and all the documents, the prosecutors have concocted a new argument, the conviction. This thesis is backed by all the media. They even came up with a name, Briberocracy. Now all the money stolen from Petrobras is the president's fault. Lula's fault. The first step is to understand the size of the presidency and how it works. Imagine a beehive. At the center, you have the queen bee. Surrounding her, you have the honeycombs. This enormous structure is completely interconnected. There are 3 consulting organs, 8 immediate advisory organs, 14 essential organs, each one with their councils. But it doesn't stop there. There are 32 ministries along with their subdivisions. And the state-owned companies, 134 in all. Petrobras is one of them. Now notice how many controls there are before you get to this level. Just like at Petrobras, there are 2 filters, the Auditing Committee and the Governing, Risks and Conformance Technical Committee. Outside Petrobras, there are 3 other external controls. The Federal Court of Accounts, connected with the legislative branch, the Public Ministry, without counting the independent auditors hired to provide security to investors. The ministries also have controls. The Ministry of Finance has 3, Internal Revenue Service, COAF, the Financial Activity Control Council, and CVM, the Securities and Exchange Commission. There are 2 in the Ministry of Justice, the Federal Police and CADE, Economic Defense Administrative Council, and 1 more in the Mines and Energy Ministry, ANP, the National Agency of Petroleum, Natural Gas, and Biofuels. But that's not all. We still have CGU, the Comptroller General of the Union, and the National Council of Energetic Policy. It is important to remember that the Public Ministry has jurisdiction in all these organs and can investigate any one of them at any moment. From 2003 to 2010, the country took all possible measures to increase control over the use of public funds. Investigative organs, such as the Public Ministry and the Federal Police, were given more autonomy. transparency, and the fight against corruption increase? Could the presidency have found out, alone, what all these inspection and control organs, both internal and external, have failed to discover? Auditors, counselors, advisors, technicians, ministers. How many people along the way would have to share the responsibility? How can the blame be laid at the president's door for all the illegal acts committed by the company's staff? It's been 11 years since the Federal Court of Accounts last approved a Petrobras account, for example. During the time he was in office, Lula did all he could as president of the country to fight corruption. The Comptroller General of Brazil was created in Lula's first term in 2003. A system for randomly investigating city halls by drawing lots has already investigated 40% of the Brazilian cities. A national file of companies with law-breaking records has also been created, and none of them can do business of any kind with the government. The Transparency Portal was created in 2004. Every day, all public expenses are posted for anybody to search, with no need for creating an account or a password. This portal has received several international prizes, including the UN, prized for one of the best 5 corruption prevention tools in the world. Lula's government also strengthened the federal police, increasing their ranks with more investigators, agents, and most importantly, with better salaries. To prove that a crime has been committed, it needs to be proven that the president not only knew about the kickbacks and graft, but also gave the orders to commit them. Direct subordination. Otherwise, we will witness the greatest injustice of all, the persecution of an internationally acclaimed leader who never committed a crime.